Gigantamax in Pokemon Go has proven to be quite a challenge for many communities and people. But in today's video, we're gonna make sure that we go over the top tips, tricks, and strategies to make sure, number one, you take these Pokemon down the fastest, number two, you get the most out of these raids, and number three, all the nuances in between. So welcome to the Trainer Club, here we go! We have officially had our second weekend with Gigantamax in Pokemon Go. So let me know in the comments below, what have you guys found? What has been helpful? What has been a frustration? I need to know everything in the comments below because we always have Niantic employees watching us and we do want to make sure we give constructive feedback. So please make sure to drop that in the comments below. Very curious. So for myself personally, I have been in two great locations to be able to do Gigantamax. Number one, downtown Naperville in Illinois. If you ever have the chance to raid in that area, to participate in max battles, whatever the situation is, that community is very outstanding. And the second outstanding community that I've had the fortunate space to be able to live in both of these places is Bend, Oregon. So if you are ever in Bend, Oregon, they go hard, great community, not quite as hard and as encompassing as Naperville, but they are very close second, and I love both of the communities dearly. So with that said, over this last weekend, we did a bunch of Gigantamax Gengar. And with that said, we did a grand total, I think I might have missed one or two. One I glitched out of. There's a couple things that I'm gonna speak on real quick before we go into this. Number two, I think that I feel like I might have traded at least one of these. So these are all Gigantamaxes. So for resource-based play, okay, so obviously the battles are a little bit more expensive. So we did a grand total of 26. So if we're gonna look at the shop, I'm gonna go ahead and check out if there's going to be any shops that have max particles in there, which I don't think that there are. Oh, there's one. $5 for 1,500 max particles. That one also comes with remote pass. I mean, that's a one-time buy. Okay, so let's not include that. So this is 425 for 3 battles. From raid battles, you get 250 for 3 battles. And then for remote passes, you're getting 525. So it's in between the cost of a premium battle pass and a remote battle pass. A little bit more on the tiered towards the remote battle pass. But here's the difference. On remote battle passes and premium battle passes, what you guys get is pretty much max 10,000 XP per raid, 1,000 Stardust. On the Gigantamax battles, you're getting 25,000 Stardust and 25,000 XP. And if you use a lucky egg or a star piece, guess what? You're getting 37,500 Stardust per raid and you're getting 50,000 XP per raid. So let's take this back into my raid battles over the weekend. And so we did a grand total of 26. And let's say I wasn't on a star piece the whole time because I wasn't. I made mistakes. I did a grand total of 650,000 Stardust. And for the exact same for XP. However, if I was on that 37,500 for the entire time and did that, that would have been almost 1,000,000 Stardust over the weekend. And for the 50,000 times 26, that would have been 1.3 million XP. So these battles, while they are more challenging, while they are a little bit more expensive than regular raid battles, while they do require resources, they really actually pay off over time. So that's one thing I'm gonna preface you guys for that. And so one of my top tips, we have a couple of them. I have 5 great tips for you guys in this video. And the tip number 1. Get into a party play. The reason why you want a party play is over this weekend, what happens is if you're in a party play of 4 people, and this is why I want you guys to do 4 if you can every time. 3 still works, 4 is best. So in that party play, you guys have the opportunity to share items with your party. And so sharing items, what you would normally think, if you're going for 2 people, let's say I share a star piece, it's going to give 15 minutes to me and 15 minutes to my partner or whoever's in the party. However, if you go into 4 people, it's gonna give me 15 minutes to myself and to the 3 other people. So if I use 2 star pieces, it's going to give me 30 minutes and everybody else in my party 30 minutes, okay? So they didn't have to spend any star pieces, and 4 total star pieces for everybody, I spent 2. So if everybody spends 2 star pieces, that's gonna be 2 hours worth of star pieces by everybody just using 2. So you see the difference. We're going an extra double. We're doubling the time on that. And then for the lucky eggs, same exact principle. So you're getting the same things with 4 people, everybody contributes equally, 2 of each of them. You'll get a grand total of 2 hours of each of them for 50% reduced item cost, which is really impressive. So that is one of the biggest tips that I saw over the weekend. It helped out tremendously. And guess what, guys? It really allowed us to get a ton more Stardust. I was watching my Stardust just absolutely skyrocket over the weekend. And not only am I doing this with the star pieces, I'm also running the Pokemon Go Plus Plus in the background that's spinning, catching Pokemon, and adding to this on top. And during this time, with the extended eggs, hitting a best friend bonus, a great friend, or even an ultra friend bonus helps out tremendously in adding and compounding XP. So that party play feature, I know it's not directly related, but it is because it makes all of your resources go so much further. So being with a party of 4, use 2 of each item if you guys plan to go for 2 hours. If you're only planning to go for 1 hour, 1 item from everybody will get you a grand total of 1 hour's worth of play, which the hour is kind of the sweet spot. And let's not forget that on calm days, you can use this exact same strategy as well to elongate out your star pieces and premium items. So don't forget how to share those things in Pokemon Go, which then leads us into tip 2. Tip 2 is directly related into starting these max battles. So for the max battles, you guys have teams of 4, if you guys didn't notice. So it's gonna say team 1, and then you can click into those teams and you can see who's on your team. So what I want you guys to understand is that how those parties are assigned is in the order in which people go in as. So if I wanted to make sure that I had strong players with multiple max moves, max spirit, max guard in each and every category, how I would do that is I would start with who has a Pokemon, and I would announce this to everybody, who has a Pokemon that has max spirit and max shield. I need to know who has these Pokemon. So let's say that there's a couple people, maybe one person doesn't even have it. Okay, so maybe not max, maybe a second tier or a first tier. I need to get all those people in a group over here. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break them all up, and they're basically going to get other people along with them for a team of 4, right? So we have every team has a healer, every team has somebody that could shield, and every team obviously then has attackers. So I suggest for personal experience that everybody maxes out a max guard. Max guard is very important to surviving these raids and to be able to complete them. So the max guard allows you to put up shields so that when the Pokemon is attacking, it hits those shields and doesn't knock out your Pokemon. And then the other strategy that I used, that I talked about in my other video, if you want to see it up here, you can, is after I would put those 2 shields on, if I still had Pokemon left, I would bring one of those other Pokemon back that doesn't have a shield and let that Pokemon do its turn. Try to get not this Pokemon attacked, let this Pokemon take attacks. So then when I come back in, I can double attack. I could either 1 attack, I could put on another shield, so now I'll have 3 total shields. And I could max heal, so I could do 1 of each or whatever that is. The one Pokemon I'm using right now is Metagross. I have maxed out all of its moves in all 3 categories. I'm not the biggest fan that it does cost particles, but at this point in time, it was worth it. I got all my Stardust back. I got way more Stardust than I actually used to even power these Pokemon up, and I was pretty impressed. So for me personally, when I do see a good one, being able to power that thing up feels a little bit more secure with how much Stardust is coming out, especially with the star piece and the party strategy. And so then back to the parties, once you guys have teams of 4 and everybody has a, let's call a senior or an elite trainer in with all those parties, then you'd be like, hey, you're gonna be party 1, 2, 3, 4, and if you have a group of 3, you could be 5, and then anybody else that comes in will be that. And so what you do is you say, hey, team 1, go in. Once all 4 people go in, team 2, go in. They'll all be together. Team 3, go all in. The only thing that messes this up is if you're in a location such as New York City where somebody random could come in. And while that does mess it up, but at the same time, in those areas, you're probably gonna be a little bit more blessed with the amount of people. You're not gonna have to be as strategic here. This really is the way to do it if you're trying to low man this Pokemon. So if you're trying to go in with a low amount of people, you need to have this strategy. So then when team 2 fills up, team 3, team 4, team 5, and the like. And so we were able to beat Gengar with 11 with this strategy. However, the one thing I am going to caution you guys is that at 6 minutes, it doesn't end the raid as normal raids do. That Pokemon becomes enraged. And when that Pokemon becomes enraged, it's pretty much going to almost one-shot every Pokemon, regardless of shields or not. Unless you're really lucky, you have everybody cheering and somebody can withstand one of those moves long enough to be able to go into a Dynamax or a Gigantamax to finish off the raid battle, which happened to us on Friday night. Matt was able to go through with that maxed out double because normal type resists ghost, and we were able to make that happen. So that's gonna be the second strategy to make sure that everything goes as accordingly. You know how to get into those teams, and then you know who those teams are. And if something does happen, what you can do is just select the menu, go into that menu, and it'll show you the teams in order and who's on each team, which is then gonna go into tip 3. Tip 3 is going to be utilize as much resources as possible to be able to get as many people to these places as possible. So here's what I noticed over the weekend. So you have the casual players that come in that may do one, may pay for one, and then they're out. So they have basically one Gigantamax battle, which is fine. Everybody can play as they want. But the goal here in the strategy is that you need to have at least 15 players that have a lot more leeway in their playability and their spendability to make these battles feasible for all of us. So using Campfire, going into the local Discords, Facebook groups, making sure to have the Campfire set up. If you don't have a local ambassador, you need to get on that ambassador program, guys. It helps out tremendously. It allows people to find you. And if you don't use Campfire and you're traveling, you want to find groups, Campfire is the way to go, guys. You can find the local groups in your areas, and it just really helps out being able to find where these meetups are happening and then going to participate. But the reason why we want to have all these people participating is that we can have the waves of, okay, the casual players are going to fall off. And then they're going to have the medium casual players where they're willing to spend maybe like $5, $10, and then they're going to fall off. And then you have the more dedicated players that spend a little bit more on the game, that have played the game a little bit more, and that are willing to stick around for a whole lot more than just what you would receive from the casual players. And by doing this and having more people drawn out, that you can keep going afterwards, and you don't have to stop after doing 30 minutes worth of a raid because you didn't have enough numbers and people. And in the Gigantamax, numbers, people, strategies, items, and the last thing I'm going to tell you guys is that please do not leave Pokemon in battles that you plan to go back to battle again. And because if that Pokemon that you left in the battle makes it back into your party, because that Pokemon that you left in the battle can still be battled with, in that same gym that you left it in, you will receive an error. So that's one of the reasons people get kicked out of the Gigantamax raids, is because you left a Pokemon in that gym, you came back to that gym, that same Pokemon was in that gym and in your battle party, and you got kicked. And what that looks like is a challenging experience to try to re-go in. Is it possible? Yes. If you have a leader, it's easier. However, I want to try to mitigate the unused resources and then capitalize on what these things bring. So for me personally, I had a lot of fun with the Gigantamax system. Is it fun for me to raid for a Pokemon that I already have hundos of? Not really. I would love to be able to, like I said, have some type of retrograde system so that it doesn't feel like a completely new segmented system, because now I'm looking at raid battles and I'm like, I don't even want to do raid battles anymore. Like I get 10,000 XP and I get 1,000 Stardust. And furthermore, I am much happier to be able to power up Pokemon that don't have as crazy IVs, because for me personally, I'm more in a position of trying to get lucky Pokemon to power them up, like a 93% I would be fine with. I have so much Stardust and so much resources that I don't feel the need to try to like just raid until I get like a 98 or a 100% anymore. I just kind of feel like putting Pokemon Go into perspective for me and where I'm at with my gameplay and how I want to operate. I want to enjoy myself. I want to have time with the community. I want to be able to not feel let down. And raid battles and these battles where I'm paying and going hard and grinding and grinding and grinding, I feel let down. But these Gigantamax battles, since I'm getting so much Stardust and so much XP, I don't really feel as let down as I am from the raid system, where it's like, okay, now I have 150 of these Pokemon and I'm just gonna transfer them. So that's where I'm at with these Gigantamax battles. These are the tips that really helped us out significantly over the weekend. And don't overlook tip 1 with the resources, guys. It makes a massive difference. That extra 12,500 Stardust is huge. For one, an extra 25,000 XP per battle. Guys, we were able to do about 8 per hour when we were really efficient. So don't overlook it, enjoy yourself, and drop in the comments below if you guys have more tips. I'm happy to make more videos about this to make sure you guys are on top of your Gigantamax in Pokemon Go. Thank you guys for being here. To all my likers, commenters, subscribers, Patreon members, everybody takes your support, subscription, implementation to the next level. I'm gonna see you guys out on the next video. Peace.
I want to take this time to thank everybody who supports me in every facet. It means the world to me, and an extra special thank you to all my Patreons. I greatly appreciate the extra support to continue to allow me to pursue Pokemon Go full time, allowing me to create my daily video uploads in the most timely fashion for everyone's benefit. Plus, I get the amazing experience of sharing my creative processes behind the scenes and rating all around the globe with select upper tiers. Thank you everybody for being a part of the Trainer Club. You all mean the absolute world to me, and I will see you guys out on the next video.